Klay Thompson's dad ended up checking Monica McNutt and everybody who has the same ideology that she has when it comes to why Caitlin Clark is famous and why she's such a big phenomenon.
The WNBA world just exploded. Mychal Thompson, NBA champion, father of Klay Thompson, and one of the most respected voices in basketball, just did something nobody saw coming. He went straight at Monica McNutt, calling out her comments about Caitlin Clark in a way.
You know, Caitlin Clark, I've been noticing, I've been following her career since she was a sophomore at Iowa, and I recognized how different she was, how different she played the game. She played the game like Steph Curry. We had never seen a woman play like that.
That's got the entire sports media industry shook. And honestly, after you hear what he said, you'll understand why this is about to change everything. Because what Mychal Thompson just exposed isn't just about one player or one analyst. It's about jealousy, hypocrisy, and a narrative so twisted that even legends are fed.
Emphasized for about a year, then he finally caught on. And men who travel with us in our traveling party who are basically anti-women's basketball, just didn't care for it, didn't want to talk about it, had no interest in it at all. All of a sudden, they started watching Caitlin Clark and got intrigued by her, and they became
This
fans
is massive news, and it's happening right now. Let me set the stage for you. When Mychal Thompson, a man who won NBA championships playing alongside Magic Johnson, who went toe-to-toe with Michael Jordan and Larry Bird, who raised one of the...
Jealous? Sure. I mean, would you be jealous of somebody that got $28 million a shoe deal or whatever the deal is before you step foot in the pro?
Greatest shooters in NBA history. When that man says he was genuinely starstruck meeting Caitlin Clark, you need to pause and let that sink in. This is someone who spent his entire life surrounded by basketball royalty. He's seen it all, done it all, lived through every era of greatness this game has produced. And yet, there he was, openly admitting that watching Caitlin Clark
and all the people that follow the WNBA and try to promote the WNBA don't understand that Caitlin Clark's game resonates with us. I say this every day, and every day I got to deal with somebody else dumb in the media. Caitlin Clark's game resonates because she's got flair, she's got flash, she's got style. I said this before, and I'll say this again. We saw Sue Bird's game. We saw Diana Taurasi's game. Kim Mulkey was Sue Bird before Sue Bird became Sue Bird. We've seen it.
Left him in awe. That alone should tell you everything you need to know about the kind of talent we're witnessing. But apparently, not everyone sees it that way. Enter Monica McNutt, ESPN analyst, regular voice on sports media platforms. Someone who's built a career talking about basketball. And lately, she's had a lot to say about Caitlin Clark. But here's the thing. She's not talking about Clark's game. She's not breaking down those logo threes that have redefined.
These people that play in the NBA, these people that cover the NBA. There, I said these people, all of you. Black, white, green, purple. Why don't you understand a very simple thing? Her game is dynamic. Like Diana Taurasi was like a jackass to Caitlin Clark. Why?
What's possible in women's basketball. She's not analyzing the court vision that reminds people of Magic Johnson himself. No, McNutt's latest take is that Caitlin Clark's fame, her massive popularity, her unprecedented impact on the sport, all comes down to one thing. She's a white girl from Middle America. That's it. That's the explanation. And let me tell you, people are furious. Think about what that statement actually means. It's saying that every jaw-dropping...
Why? Her game is what people are drawn to. And then you go to the personality. Her game is different than any WNBA woman ever. And she wins, and she shoots from deep. It's no different than Steph Curry.
Three-pointer Clark drains from 30 feet out. Meaningless. Every pinpoint pass that threads through defenders like they're standing still. Irrelevant. The way she lights up arenas, the way kids wear her jersey, the way she's brought millions of new eyes to women's basketball. None of that matters. According to McNutt, it's just about her appearance and what she represents demographically. Not her skill, not her work ethic, not the authentic joy she brings to the game or the way...
The main reason is because of her talents. It's not because of her race. Her race has nothing to do with it. You know, especially with kids. She's saying kids don't see color, man. The kids that I grew up around...
She's inspired an entire generation of young players. Just race and geography. And that, right there, is where Mychal Thompson drew the line. Because here's what Monica McNutt either doesn't understand or refuses to acknowledge. Mychal Thompson has been watching Caitlin Clark since she was a sophomore at Iowa. He saw something different in her, something special. He watched her play the game in a way.
And when I grew up as a kid, I didn't see color, man. I did not see color. I didn't care about color. I didn't know what color was. I just knew you were a human being, and I was trying to be your friend. It's kind of a crazy, nonsensical take to say that kids...
No woman had played it before, with the flash and flare and deep range shooting that reminded him of Steph Curry. And he wasn't alone. Men in his traveling party, guys who admitted they were basically anti-women's basketball, who had zero interest in the WNBA, who wouldn't even talk about it, suddenly started watching Caitlin Clark. They got intrigued.
Type of nationalities and ethnicities that follow Caitlin Clark and rock with her. So it's not that...
They became fans, not because of her race, not because of where she's from, but because her game resonated with them in a way that transcended everything else. Now, let me be clear about something. Monica McNutt just stepped over a line that most ESPN analysts know better than to cross. This wasn't some off-the-cuff remark in a casual setting. This was during a...
I don't know why Monica McNutt or anybody that professes to know basketball can't simply say, you know, her game's just different than everybody we've ever seen. Ever. Now, don't tell me. I've watched. Ever. Tamika Catchy's great play.
BBC interview with special correspondent Caddy K, where McNutt deliberately downplayed Caitlin Clark's extraordinary talent. She looked into that camera and attributed Clark's meteoric rise not to her generational skills, but to her appearance and what she supposedly represents. And when you really break that down, when you actually think about what she's saying...
Sabrina, Brianna, Kelsey, Diana Taurasi, you had and have these white players in the league that never galvanized the people like this. All right? Now, granted, you can have some people come back and say, well, the media and the coverage wasn't as good.
It's not just insulting to Caitlin Clark. It's insulting to every single fan who's fallen in love with watching her play. Take a moment to let that sink in. According to Monica McNutt's logic, it's not about the fact that Caitlin Clark broke the NCAA all-time scoring record. It's not about those pinpoint passes that leave commentators speechless. It's not about the...
Good as it is now. NILs and things like that weren't popping off. That has nothing to do with it. That has nothing to do with it, man. If they were that captivating...
Crossovers that freeze defenders in their tracks, or the deep threes that are literally reshaping how women's basketball is played. It's not about the way she connects with fans after games, the time she makes for kids, or how she represents the sport with class and positivity. No, apparently all of that is secondary to the fact
in the playoffs right now, which means that Angel Reese, in theory, has impacted winning in a greater way. But I think the double-double streak that she's on, the 8 consecutive double-doubles, for Caitlin, she's leading rookies in points, minutes, and assists. There was terrific stats put out over the weekend by our colleague Michael Vopel about
She's white and from the Midwest. And if you think that sounds ridiculous, well, so does everyone else who actually watches basketball.
About the percentage, about her being the player that has seen the most blitzes in the league. And so she's navigating a different level of defensive intensity, and rightfully so, because she's playing the point guard role for this Fever squad. So I think today, looking at the standings, you probably tend to...
Here's where it gets even more interesting. While Monica McNutt was busy reducing Caitlin Clark to a demographic checkbox, the Indiana Fever were making history. They scheduled an unprecedented 40-plus nationally televised games for the 2025 season. Let me repeat that. 40 nationally televised games. Networks don't make those kinds of commitments based on a player's background or what region they're from. They do it because audiences are captivated, because ratings are through the roof, because people can't get enough of watching real, undeniable talent on the court. That's not about privilege. That's about performance. That's about a player who delivers must-see basketball every single time she steps on the floor. And you want to talk about what really makes McNutt's remarks so troubling? It's how they completely erase the work Caitlin Clark has put in. We're talking about more than a decade of relentless skill building. Every behind-the-back pass you see, every logo 3 that swishes through the net, those weren't handed to her. Those weren't gifted because of some inherent advantage. They were earned through countless hours in empty gyms when nobody was watching, when there were no cameras, no crowds, no endorsement deals. Just a kid with a basketball and an unshakable dream. McNutt conveniently ignores that Clark led the entire league in assists as a rookie while adjusting to a completely new level of competition. She ignores the physical toll, the mental pressure, the fact that every team game planned specifically to stop her, and she still dominated. But here's where the hypocrisy really hits different. Monica McNutt earns her paycheck from ESPN, the same ESPN that broadcasts Caitlin Clark's games, the same ESPN that has seen its ratings and engagement skyrocket because of Clark's popularity, the same ESPN that is profiting massively from the very player McNutt is trying to diminish. It's the sports media version of biting the hand that feeds you while simultaneously claiming that hand doesn't deserve to be fed at all. Think about that for a second. McNutt is benefiting financially from the ecosystem that Caitlin Clark has helped explode into mainstream relevance, and she's using that platform to tear her down. That's not just hypocritical. That's calculated. And the fans? Oh, they didn't stay silent. Not even close. Social media absolutely erupted after McNutt's remarks went public. One user on X wrote, "She should be fired immediately," and that sentiment spread like wildfire. Hashtags started trending. Clips of her comments got shared thousands of times. The backlash wasn't just about defending Caitlin Clark, though that was definitely part of it. It was also about the insulting suggestion that Clark's massive, diverse fan base supports her because of her race instead of her basketball talent. People from every background, every ethnicity, every walk of life came together to say the same thing. We watch Caitlin Clark because she's incredible at basketball. Period. What Monica McNutt fundamentally fails to understand is that Caitlin Clark's appeal goes so far beyond demographics that it's almost laughable to suggest otherwise. Don't take my word for it. Go to any Indiana Fever game. Look around the arena. You'll see fans from every possible background proudly wearing her jersey. Talk to them. Ask them why they're there. They'll tell you about her court vision, about her fearless shot making, about her relentless competitiveness. Not once, and I mean not once, would they say it's because she's a white girl from the Midwest. That narrative exists only in the minds of people like McNutt who seem incapable of just appreciating greatness for what it is. And here's another thing that completely destroys McNutt's argument. The WNBA has had plenty of white players over the years. Sabrina Ionescu, incredible talent. Kelsey Plum, amazing shooter. Diana Taurasi, one of the greatest to ever do it. These are all white players who've had successful careers, but none of them galvanized people the way Caitlin Clark has. None of them brought this level of mainstream attention to the league. Now, some people might push back and say, well, the media coverage wasn't as good back then, or nil deals weren't a thing, or the landscape was different. But that argument falls apart under any scrutiny. Because if those players had been as captivating, if they had the same kind of magnetic, must-watch quality that Clark has, they would have gotten the attention. The eye test doesn't lie. People recognize special when they see it, regardless of the era. What we're witnessing with Monica McNutt isn't just a bad take or a simple misstep. This is the newest chapter in what increasingly looks like a personal vendetta against the WNBA's brightest star. Because this isn't the first time McNutt has gone after Clark. She's repeatedly moved the goalposts whenever Clark accomplishes something extraordinary. When Clark was breaking records, McNutt found reasons to qualify them. When Clark was leading rookies in multiple categories, McNutt shifted focus to other players. There's a pattern here, and it's become impossible to ignore. Mychal Thompson sees it. He's calling it out for what it is. Jealousy, envy, ego, pettiness. These are the forces driving the anti-Clark narrative, and Thompson isn't afraid to name them. He's watched enough basketball, been around the game long enough, to recognize when criticism crosses the line from legitimate analysis into something darker. And what he's saying resonates because it comes from a place of credibility. This isn't some casual fan with a hot take. This is an NBA champion who's earned the right to speak on greatness. And he's telling us that what Caitlin Clark is doing is special, regardless of what certain media personalities want to claim. Meanwhile, while all this noise swirls around her, Caitlin Clark just keeps dominating. She continues to put up numbers, continues to make plays that leave people shaking their heads in disbelief, continues to prove every single doubter wrong. The Indiana Fever are building a championship-caliber team around her with a young, dynamic roster and veteran leadership that understands what they have. Clark's impact transcends any attempt to reduce it to demographics. She draws fans. She inspires young players who see themselves in her fearless approach to the game. She's changing how basketball is played at the highest level. That's not hyperbole. That's just facts. And here's the final truth that Monica McNutt and anyone else pushing this narrative needs to understand. No analyst bias, no matter how loudly it's broadcast or how many platforms it appears on, can overshadow the undeniable basketball brilliance that Caitlin Clark brings every single night. Her talent speaks louder than any criticism. Her impact is measured in sold-out arenas, record ratings, and a generation of kids who now dream of playing like her. That's real. That's tangible. That's what actually matters. So when Mychal Thompson tears into Monica McNutt over her Caitlin Clark comments, he's not just defending one player. He's defending the integrity of basketball analysis. He's standing up for the idea that greatness should be recognized and celebrated for what it is, not reduced to superficial factors that have nothing to do with what happens on the court. And judging by the response, by the way fans and fellow analysts are rallying behind his words, this moment might just be the turning point where the narrative finally shifts back to where it belongs. On the game, on the talent, on the undeniable fact that we're watching something special, and we should all be grateful we get to witness it.